Hi everyone, welcome back. Right, so today's video is just going to be a very quick unboxing of the Sherman Firefly Airfix starter set. Now, as you can see, I picked this up for $10.99. I got it from my local game store. I'm a little bit stuck with regards to local shops near me that sell kits. I think my nearest one is in Poole, dedicated model shop. I really must try and make the effort to get out there, but I noticed that Game had a Hornby section in there, of which Airfix is now part of Hornby, which is great. And they had basically some starter sets, and I noticed that they had some Revell Star Wars kits as well, so I may get a few of those. So this is 1/72 scale Sherman Firefly by Airfix. It came out a couple of years ago. As you can see, I picked it up for $10.99, and the kit itself will only give you one decal scheme, as it's a starter set, but you get cement, a paintbrush and 3 acrylic paints in their little paint pots. So looking at the front of the box, you've obviously got a picture of the Sherman, obviously what it is, and a picture of 3 paints. They're not the 3 paints that are included. It gives you the serial number in the bottom left hand corner, which is Alpha 55003 by the look of it. Yeah. Top of the box, you've got a picture of the Sherman and some info just here. Airfix flying hours 1. Sides of the box are just like that, and then the bottom of the box has some safety call outs in multi-language, and obviously Hornby's address and contact details. Let's get into this. So it's a side opener. I need a scalpel. There we go. And there you go. Right, so that is the contents of the box. Let's start with the you just get a Humbrol Airfix number 2 starter brush. They're okay. I only use them for painting large areas. I don't use them for detail painting. I've kept one specifically for using in my Microsol and Microset decal solutions, in order to stop the brush from getting contaminated. Let's have a look at the paint. Polycement, I think if you don't know by now, I'm sure I've mentioned my feelings on polycement. Right, so here we go. We have number 33, which is matte black, number 53, which is gunmetal, and then we have a green, khaki green, olive drab, which is not listed, but it's number 159. According to the box, so it's not numbered, but it's 159. So I'm kind of hoping that these paints haven't suffered any issues with drying out like some of the other paints have. Let's have a look at the instructions. Right, so this is nice. You get a glossy before you start, which gives you some tools that will be helpful. It's a single-sided A4, and it just gives you some useful tips. If you're a first timer doing model kits, then that will be handy. Okie dokie, and Sherman Firefly. Front of the instructions, you got some information in French and English, multilingual warnings, and then we got more information about the vehicle and its history on the inside. Now, I've not seen one of these starter sets, or had one of these starter sets yet, and it looks like it's actually fairly straightforward. And the nice thing is that they include a sprue map, which every time you use parts, they are then removed from the sprue, and the ones that you want are actually highlighted in a different colour. So that's nice. That's a handy thing for beginners. And then obviously working through, so we're doing the chassis first, and the lower hull, then you pop on the upper hull, and then we're on to the turret and the gun mantlet. Now these starter tanks, I think if you were wargaming in 172/76 scale, I think these starter tanks would be ideal for building mass units of armoured vehicles. I'd like to see Airfix produce a much bigger range of allied and Axis vehicles, you know, really increase what they have, just so that people have the ability to pick up a Hanomag, you know, or a Vespi, or Shermans of different types, you know, Valentine tanks, and other things, because I think there's certainly a market for it. And certainly I think Airfix recently, a few years ago, released a form of wargaming using battle cards, I think, and they're miniatures that you can buy. Looking at the decals, they're quite nice. There's, like I say, there's, from what I can tell, there's only a single version. They are all nicely placed on the decal sheet. There's not a lot of carrier film around the edges, which is nice, hardly any at all. So these should go on really well. As I say, there's only one version, and that version is 1st Squadron, 2nd Armoured Regiment, 10th Armoured Cavalry Brigade, Polish, 1st Armoured Division, England, 1944. So this would potentially be getting ready to take a little hop across the channel, ready for D-Day. It only says England 1944. It doesn't give a specific date. So there you go, that's the decals. And let's have a look at the sprues now. You get 2 sprues, and you get a single piece moulded tracks and running gear, but I don't see that as a problem, in all honesty. I've built the previous Sherman that they did, their vintage classic kit, and I don't really care for the rubber tracks. The rubber tracks on a lot of their vintage classics are a pain in the bum. It would be nice to see perhaps some better tracks, similar in vein to the banded style that Tamiya used. I don't know if they'd be able to, you know, if somebody was doing aftermarket parts, would be able to make tracks that you could buy for the older vintage classic kits. So let's have a look at the hull tub and the upper hull. There's a bit of a bend. I don't know if you can see that in the sprue, but that shouldn't affect how the tank goes together. But yeah, I mean, looking at it, it's a mixture of raised and recessed detail. It's not going to be super detailed because it's a starter kit. But you know what? if you're wargaming with this, then it's fine. Airfix Model World did a article in one of their magazines earlier this year where they added a few extra bits to the Sherman Firefly, which was nice to see, and I might try and emulate that. Mainly it was just adding in the welded on armour on the sides and so on and so forth. So looking at this again, the turret looks fine. There, like I say, there's obviously a lack of detail, but it's not a major drama. As I say, if you're using this for wargaming, then it is perfectly adequate. And some of the smaller details, such as the muzzle brake here on the gun, you know, nicely moulded. The towing and lifting eyes are nicely moulded. The turret hatch is nicely moulded. I'm sure if you wanted to, you could cut that in half to mould it open potentially, or maybe not actually. Looking at the way that it's moulded, that would be a significant, because it looks like you would have to the cupola ring and cut the leaves of the hatch out separately. We've got the gun travel lock as well, which is nice to see. So if you really wanted to, you could have this in a travel condition. But yeah, I mean, the running gear looks great. It looks detailed enough. It looks like it will hold detail once it's been painted. And I don't really have a problem with it. I know if you buy the slightly more expensive set, you get a choice of either this type of running gear or the link and length type, and you can build the running gear individually with the tracks. But yeah, I mean, it's almost a one-piece barrel. It's just the muzzle brake that you need to glue on. But yeah, I think for beginners it's great, and I think if you're wargaming, you know, you'll be able to put these together, put 3 or 4 of these together of an evening without too much issue. I'm liking the fact that in the hull bottom here there's a little diagram with what looks like a turret and a gun, and I'm assuming that points to the direction that the barrel, that this floor plan needs to face. So that's nice as well. Hopefully that will stop a few mistakes. But yeah, there you go. And now the reason I bought this is because I have my tank transporter, Scammell Tank Transporter, and I want to build it, but I want to put a load on it. So I bought the Sherman to go on that, and I will do it in the Northwestern Europe theatre colours, and this will be the load to go on the trailer back. But there you go, that is the Sherman Firefly starter set. Pretty basic, but it works. And all being well, I'm going to start this in the next few days. I need something to just get me motivated again. My Chinook build has not gone as well as I'd wanted it to be, and it's kind of left me a little bit down about the scale modelling. So let's get this cracked on with, built, and the Scammell built, and we'll put them together. Alright, join me in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.